Good evening, everybody. I'm Hot Rod Bob Beck, and you've got gas, and Anna's got something else wrong. I think, just build it up. She's been holding it in all, well, never mind. That's
You've got
story.
gas.
I've got gas, and you've got something else.
I've got peaches.
You've got peaches, yes. Oh, listen to that.
A few years ago, there was a hit song, and
Yeah.
I never knew what they were talking about.
Peaches
I never
and
looked
cream,
into it.
yes.
Well, there was
No, that was something else.
millions of peaches for me, millions of peaches for free. I don't know what that was about, but
My
there
peaches aren't free.
and,
they
and
cost.
so they shouldn't be.
That's right.
We
All
have
right,
our standards to uphold here.
And
Yeah.
you've heard Bruce in the background. He's getting everything going on the board. We are getting
Hello.
ready. We're focusing in the cameras. You are watching Gas, the great American auto scene on gas now. Yeah. You've got gas. That's what it is. And we are just so confused. It's a little toasty outside today, and it's toasting us up. You just saw the logo. Remember, no place
overheated.
else in the world will you get gas like you get from us.
Boy,
I'm overheating. I need a radiator cage or something.
You need a radiator kit? You're that was the coffee you had over at Starbucks,
Yeah,
I'll tell
I'm
you what.
spun.
All right.
I am spun on caffeine. I love Starbucks.
No more for you.
no more for you.
No
Man, you
more
know what?
coffee for you.
You're talking about cooling here on a warm day. I'm
Yeah.
just starting to see the temp gauge on the 58 Ford go up
Are
a
you?
little past comfort zone. It's like, every few years you got to deal with it. I'm going, oh, man.
Yep.
Now what do I
Now
do?
what do you do?
Am I
Yeah.
going to flush? Is there something clogged somewhere? But, hey, that's part of the car thing.
Part of the old car thing. And we're going to be
Actually-
talking about that. Actually,
That's happening because of global warming.
Oh, is that
global
it?
warming. Yeah, okay.
It's bad for old cars.
We have been having global warming ever since the Ice Age stopped.
Yeah.
Tell me what industry was around in then, please, and how humans involved themselves in global warming back when the Ice Age ended.
That's right. Or, as the bumper sticker on that very same Ford says,
Yes.
happy 4.17 billionth anniversary, climate
That's right.
change.
That's
You've
it.
been around here longer
You've been
than we
around
have.
for a long time. So, yeah, all right. Humans do have an input into climate change and things happening, but it is not the only source. There was a report from Great Britain, as a matter of fact, that hit the news waves earlier today that explained that. We've got volcanoes. We've got other things, got forest fires and other things that are creating warmth, heat, and affecting the ozone. What can we do about them? Not a thing. It's Mother Nature forgetting to take her earth control pill. And we're going through all this. So it's happening. Yes, we can do something about it. And Anna likes that one.
I love that one.
Okay.
Wow. I did not know this was where we were
Earth
going with this
control.
We
show.
never know where we're going. And that's the problem,
Earth
actually.
control.
And Ross Preen was listening to us from Australia. He's going to be coming up to Verona drag strip. We're going to do
All the way
end
from
of September,
Australia?
all the way from Australia for the
Wow.
Nitro Revival. We're going to probably have to talk to Steve Gibbs and Cindy Gibbs about that because they're going to be putting that on.
Oh, nice.
We'll have the Cruisin' Grand in Escondido, California the night before, where we'll actually drive Top Fuel dragsters down the street. I mean, it's going to be great. So if you have a chance to get to Cruisin' Grand, check out their schedule, and we will be doing that. And then we're going to get drag racing next April as Stormy Bird and Randy Winkle, the Winkle Man,
He's gonna do
and the
Drag
Famoso
Fest.
Mob. They're resurrecting Drag Fest.
Holy cow.
So you've got to check it out. Go to the Randy Winkle's page or my page. You'll see when Drag Fest is. We're going to be doing that in April at Famous Auto Club Famoso Raceway outside beautiful downtown Bakersfield. So we'll be doing it there. We'll be racing there, Anna. Racing.
Are we
Anna.
racing? We're racing.
We're getting
okay.
very
I don't know
racy
what
here.
I am doing today. I'm having an earth flash or something. What is
It's
it?
a power
Earth
surge.
Earth control.
Power surge you're having.
Power surge,
Oh, God.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to be going on to that. Bruce, you and I were up at a car show this weekend. We're going to be talking a little bit about that at the great downtown Burbank car show.
Yeah, and in fact, let's see. Let's take a look at a little bit of this. I know we've got some sort of live.
Yes, we got stuff.
Live
live recorded
footage from
video. Yes.
Yeah, this was a chance also for you camera geeks out there. The video we're watching right now was taken on a mid '90s Beta SP camera. It's a Sony called a DXC327, and very impressive looking. It looks like one of those giant news cameras that
Look
the
at
bigs
that. Looks
carry
like a
around.
familiar Lincoln to me.
That is a beautiful car.
Well, thank you. Yeah, but so anyway, people would come over and say, "Hey, what network are you with?" And,
well, you'll have to we'll have to put a gas sticker on there.
I know. I'm with the Great American Auto Scene. This ain't no little network, baby.
No,
this
baby.
is the
we
big.
We are the big stuff.
That's right.
We are a real good time.
Nice.
Now, this was a great show in beautiful downtown Burbank. We'll talk about it a little bit later on. About 250 cars blocking the downtown streets of Burbank. And we did some other things. We'll be talking about Floyd Lippincott Jr. a little bit later on. For those of you who don't know who he is, we'll explain that. And we'll talk to other people that were there, as well as, well, Bruce and I will be discussing some of the cars you see out there.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. We're going to be talking about a hill climb and tour.
Yeah.
And we're going to have
Clark Crump.
Clark Crump, Mr. Crump.
Yeah,
The old
Clark is,
Crump is going to be
gonna call
calling in. And we'll be talking about that. And who knows? Bobby Schlegel's probably watching from New York. And we'll be talking to him probably a little bit later on. Again, if you've got a question about some of the things we show tonight, give us a call. 800-809-0802. The lines are open. And if you've got a technical question, oh, there they go. I think it might be Bobby already, but we'll find out. It might be Mr. Crump as well.
Yeah.
But we're going to get things going. It's another night at Gas, and it is Bobby. Here he comes. Bobby is always on with us every time we come on the air, even from back in the days of Speed Scene Live. And
Right. In fact, he's on the air right
he's
now.
on the air
Bob.
right now, and Bruce is wearing one of the shirts that Bobby makes up for Dragmaster Dragsters. Hey, Bobby, how you doing today?
Hey, how you doing, Bob? How's everything? There's my man Bruce showing off. I love it. How's everything? Hey, Anna.
Hey, Bobby, you're officially our East Coast partner in crime now.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I think I got enough. I'll give you my phone numbers for contact in case I need bail.
Yeah, not a problem. Bail. Yes, bail. I understand what that is. We do that often here because we're always sinking. So it's another story
Does that
altogether.
mean Bobby officially has got gas?
Oh, yeah. Runs on gas, yes.
I love it. Yeah, well, in fact, you're talking about all the shows you guys are heading out to.
Yeah.
We're getting ready probably about, the 16th and 17th of September. We're doing our 9th annual Dover Drag Strip show.
Okay.
I'll send a flyer out to you guys
Please, yeah.
so you can look at everything. And it's getting bigger and better.
Good.
Last year's show, total count, we had more cars than the last Hot Rod reunion up in New England.
Oh,
Cool.
that's
Nice.
great. That's great. Yeah, Epping was not the turnout they wanted, so I'm glad you guys pulled it up to Dover and got the thing going again.
There
because
it
that's
is.
great.
That's our site there, yep.
Okay.
And we just picked up a couple more sponsors, so what I do is I got a couple of friends, they walk around with their videos and take cameras, pictures, and all that good stuff. I'll throw a couple of discs together and get them out your way.
Yeah, that'd be great. S&W Chassis. We know Les Morris, who watches the show up in Northern California, is an S&W distributor, and he's putting together a 58 or 60 Thunderbird.
I remember talking
with an
about
S&W
that, yeah.
chassis. He's putting that together slowly but surely. He's getting it going.
Yeah. Yep.
But, yeah, and drag racing is something we still talk about. We're not immune to drag racing. It's just not our main focus on gas.
Yeah.
We talk about everything automotive, hot rods, and more, and we're glad you can tune in. And I always love your dragsters that you've got.
Isn't he selling one? Aren't you selling one of your dragsters?
Yeah, I got Alley Oop up, the 1959 Linwood, the original Linwood that... It's even got the original 1959 Algon fuel injection I got.
Now, that's a
on it
cool
and
old
everything.
car. Did you get any hits on that yet? Anybody going to bite?
I got a couple of tire kickers over the phone, but you know how that goes.
Yeah.
And
Maybe they're too scared.
Well, Bobby, send
And,
us
you know-
some pictures of the
It's a
car,
cool car.
and we'll put it on next show.
All right. Yeah,
All right.
I'll send you some stuff out on it.
There it is.
Oh, there it is, right there.
And there you
We
go.
already
That bitchin'?
found it.
That's the one.
That's
Alley
Isn't
Oop.
she sexy?
Man,
Hell yeah.
she's a gorgeous.
Look at
Yep.
that
Love those old
chassis.
cars. That's the kind of car I
Woohoo.
like to cackle.
Yeah.
Yeah, cackle that, baby.
Yeah.
In fact, we have our Labor Day Sunday, the Monday after Labor Day. We're having our 29th annual Dover Drag Strip reunion, and supposedly as of now, it's the longest running drag strip reunion in the country. 29 straight years.
29, yeah, and
And,
the California Hot Rod reunion's only on 26, or it'll be 26 this October.
Yep,
But-
we're doing 25, and I'll have both of my girls over there on display, all shiny up and everything, ready to go.
All right. Well, great. Well, we'll get us some more information on those. We'll get it on the show. Actually, what we'll do is I'll tell you what, next show in 2 weeks, give us a call, and we'll talk about the car, the specifications, and everything else.
Beautiful.
Okay,
All right?
cool. All right. Last show was awesome. I used some of the information you got me, and I have a bunch of my friends over here. They're still shaking their head about the evaluation as compared to the way you explained everything.
Well, hopefully they understand. It's beneficial and helps. And I was explaining it to Anna again today. We were actually doing one for an insurance company today, and I showed her how I go about doing it. And it's amazing how some people come up with a value, and it has no relationship to reality.
Yeah. They're, and then especially around here with the East Coast cars, how much sheet metal has been replaced, or the frames have been replaced because of the sand and salt, and now they're using the salt water, the Rhine water that they're putting down before the snow comes in, and that's even worse.
That's just eating up cars. That's one of the good parts of us in California. We don't see much rust. We see rust, but we don't see that much rust, and what we get it from is basically cars that just aren't washed, and when they're dirty, they hold the moisture in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we get a lot of dust and that type of thing. But other than that, I mean, I've got my 48 Plymouth's got no rust in it at all, and it's been a Southern California car all its life. So we're a little bit lucky on that here.
All right. I'll let you guys get back into your program you got lined up. Always good talking to you.
All right, Bobby, take care. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Take care. See you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Anna, you've got your guest calling in right now, and we'll get over to him. And why don't you explain a little bit about him?
Well, Clark Crump is one of my secret squirrels for Old School Rods magazine. I send him out on road trips and other nefarious hidden things so that people don't know what we're doing. And he is on the line. He went to Lincoln, Nebraska, and he went to the Speedway Motors Museum. And they sponsor the Speedway speed trials and hill climb and tour. And he sent us a bunch of fabulous photos. And he's calling in to tell us all about it.
All right, hill climbs are good. Clark, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Good. Tell us about what a hill climb is for those people that may not understand that.
Well, if you can believe there's a hill in Nebraska, there's we usually do about a 10% grade. We do a tenth of a mile run with Model T and Model A four-cylinder engines.
Okay.
And we do a timed event and different categories for flatheads and overheads and T's and A's. And we have speedsters and stock-bodied cars. So there's various classes. And essentially, you start out at the bottom of the hill and you run up to the top and do your best time, and we give a winner. We get a winner.
Okay, a tenth of a mile. What kind of speeds are they seeing with these four cylinders?
Well, the average is about 40 miles an hour, but we got some guys up to 60s, and I think the top speed there was, I have to go back to my notes, but what was my top speed out there? There was a guy that did pretty good.
45 miles an hour.
Now you got but now let's put that in perspective. A lot of guys will say, 45 is nothing. But we're talking about cars that had a top speed of 65 miles an hour, maybe on flat ground.
Yeah, we're a short distance going up a hill. So, yeah, our top guy was 66.92. So
dang!
67.
I'm impressed.
That's pretty good. So you're talking about four-cylinder cars, Model Ts, Model A's, any Chevrolets or Dodges or anything else like that with four-cylinder flatheads allowed?
Well, I'm not sure if they're allowed, but they don't show up. There have been guys that show up with Chevrolets in the past, but mostly it's Ford products.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure they would allow a exhibition run out of a different brand.
Yeah, and there's a non-Ford right there.
That's right. That is
showing up.
Yeah. So
we got on screen right now. We've got what appears to be an old.
Now that is a Ford, but it's a 1907 Model K. It's
okay.
Before the
inline 6 car. And that was an inline 6, but that guy flogged that up the hill pretty good, and he didn't get a very good top speed out of it, but he did run it pretty good all weekend long. He was on the tour and showed it off. It was a really nice car. I think there's only 5 of them known left in America.
God, that's amazing.
I am so glad you guys are doing an event for those guys to come out and have fun with those cars.
Well, this is a weird one that we're looking at right now. I mean, it looks like an overhead conversion, and it's got still an updraft carburetor, or maybe it's just a No, maybe it's not an overhead
This would be in the
conversion.
Speedster class.
Yeah.
And it's a Model A with like a Winfield flathead.
Okay.
Thin flathead, and it's probably just a stock, valve train on it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Probably even Babbitt bearings. They can just throw it on there and run up the hill.
Now look at this guy. He's got a double hump roll bar.
How about that?
It's a Model T,
cool.
but looking at, it looks like there's something on top of the engines. This may be an overhead conversion on this one, but this is a Model T.
This is a Gemsa. This guy's running a Model T engine with the Gemsa.
Wow, that is rare.
The Gemsa, when I talked to this guy, the Gemsa was built in the 60s, and they get pretty good. They're trying to get King of the Hill. What King of the Hill is King of the Hill is the fastest car of the event.
Okay.
And this last year, or this time, a guy named Denny Sprecher won. He's pretty good, but this guy, he got pretty close. I'm trying to think of what his numbers were on that car. I'm not going to find it fast.
Well, again, for those people again that are not familiar with the hill climb, the fact that these are 4-cylinder cars, not thinking these speeds are great. Look at the tires and wheels on these cars.
Yes.
Now, some of them are wire wheels. A few of them we've seen had wooden wheels because wood spokes were what they started out with. They didn't start out with wire wheels. A lot of the cars had
there's
wooden
a limit
spokes.
on the tire width.
Yeah, so you've got skinny tires. They're nylon.
There he goes.
Cord. They're not radials. They're bias ply. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about this Model T that we've got on here now, Tall T Coupe. It's got later model wheels and tire sizes on it. So it looks like about, I don't know.
He's got 7 inches of maximum width of the tire tread.
7 inches maximum width. And you really don't want that much more because these cars have a high center of gravity. You almost want them to slide a little bit. You don't want them to dig in that tight, do you?
Yeah, well, we try not to get sideways.
Well, Clark, tell us how you got involved in this.
Well, I got involved when I bought a Model A to replace a hot rod body I had, and a friend of mine, when I brought it home, my wife said, "Hey, that's a complete car. Let's just drive it around." And I got involved with some Model A guys, and one of my friends, his name is Art Moore, and he's in the club called the 4x4 Cylinder Club.
Right.
So all those guys helped me hop it up and balance my crank when I rebuilt the engine and lighten the flywheel and hop up my flathead. And then from there, I went and bought another Model A with an overhead. So that's kind of how I got involved in the four-bangers.
What area do you live in, Clark?
I live in Alta Loma.
Okay, so you're a Southern California guy, and Art Moore is part of the 4x4 Club that puts on the Antique Nationals every year.
Mm.
Yes, exactly. And what they did was Art was my neighbor and got me in the club, and then once they got me in the club, he said, "Well, I'm going to retire as president and make you the president."
Congratulations.
Lucky you.
But anyways, yeah, we have the Antique Nationals every year. That there's the one coming up at the gas station is my car.
That's a cute little.
That's dynamite.
Yeah.
Did you do the hill climb in that? How fast did you go?
Yes, I did do the hill climb in that, and I'm just trying to find my number real fast. But what was my top speed was 45. I did it in 11 seconds. So
okay,
my competitor beat me by about a half second. He did 10.7 seconds up the hill.
Wow. Now you got in this one. You got the overhead conversion or just still flathead?
It's a Miller overhead conversion.
Okay.
Okay.
And so the interesting thing, this car was built by a guy named Bob Kehoe. He bought a restored Model A, and then he had the engine ready to get put into a car, and so he ended up putting it into this one. And so it runs really good. The tour that we went on this is at the gas station, but the tour we went on from Speedway Motors is about 150 miles through the farmlands of Nebraska, and we stopped at a little town for a park for coffee and donuts, and then from there we went to lunch at an airport, and they had a private air show.
Wow.
So the guys at the Speedway Museum, they really put out a really good event, and it's every 2 years, so people have time to plan for it. It's called the Speedsters Trials and Reunion. A fair number of just spectators too, but everyone just drives around on the Thursday, and then on Friday we do the hill climb, and then Saturday we go to a dyno shop and everyone dynos their cars, and goes to an award ceremony in the evening time.
Man, it looks like the weather was really nice for you guys too.
Yeah, it was a little hot and muggy, but yeah, it was good.
Well, I love watching these stuff, and I love the Antique Nationals. That was the first nostalgia-style event I'd ever gone to. And when I started going to Forever Ford's events, they were at Orange County Raceway.
Yeah.
Oh. So that was the first thing. Then they came up to L.A. County Raceway when Orange County went down, and we did it there for a number of years. Then they moved to Fontana. They were at Irwindale for a few years, and then they moved to Fontana. And that happens every year, late May, early June?
Yeah, right now what we have is they've given us Mother's Day weekend, and so we decided to put it on Saturdays instead of Sundays. But the only day that the NHRA is definitely not going to race is Mother's Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So they've set aside that Saturday for us, and so next year you just have to look for Mother's Day weekend and in May, and that's probably when we'll be running it. We'll keep everyone informed.
Good, yeah. Keep us informed, and what we'll do is the show before the race, we'll get you on again, and maybe get Art on. I know he's still kind of active. I see him at the NHRA Cruise Nights with his car. Yeah. So he rolls around the parking lot and shows up, and it's great to see the Four Cylinder Club out there. The Forever Forders, because they got some interesting cars, especially the overhead conversions. Now, did you see any fronty Fords there?
Oh yeah, there was quite a bit. The pictures you have coming up right now are of the museum, and I'd like to talk a little about the museum because it's real integral with the Speedster trial at Reunion. The museum really puts on the trials and the hill climb, but volunteers from Speedway Motors, the guys that work the desk at Speedway Motors and different employees and stuff, they all volunteer their time to help put on this event. They feed you good. They really do a knockout job, and then they also give us free reign of this museum. So the first day that I showed up with a gentleman named Jim Brierly. You guys might know his name. He's a kind of what we call a four-banger guru, and so he knows the curators. So I got a back room visit of the engine shop in the museum, and the photos that are coming up now are inside the display area. But this is a Louis Chevrolet Indy car.
Oh wow!
A very early one with not a Chevrolet engine, and before they did the Frontenac, but it was a Chevrolet one. But they have Indy cars, round, dirt cars. There's an amazing amount of cars that are come up on these photos.
And this is all from Speedy Bill Smith's private collection, right?
Yes, this is Speedy Bill Smith and his wife, Joyce. They started a collection, decided to put together a museum. And the main focus of their museum is the engines themselves and the engines themselves, and they have examples of every early engine and aftermarket accessory type person, such as Riley, Miller. Well, Miller wasn't making. Yeah, he has the conversion for the Model A, but why am I?
He also has a phenomenal collection of memorabilia and pedal cars and all kinds of things too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
This museum is like the best kept secret in the Midwest.
Yeah. And besides the museum, for those of you who don't, Speedway Motors, if you haven't put that together yet, they are one of the largest speed equipment, hot rod parts, and race parts company you can order from. And I've gotten a lot of stuff from them for my cars because they have just about everything.
And they also accept donations of rare speed memorabilia, too.
Yeah.
They have a nice website you can go look at, and they're just phenomenal. I mean, it's really good we're talking about this because people are now going to know about it, and, you could do a cruise over there.
Yeah.
And see, look at these rare motors. I mean, these engines are amazing.
These couple of cars coming up right now are pre-war, 1917, 1920 race cars that they found, they just kept intact and put them on display. A lot of Model Ts, but they take the gamut from Robert Roof, McDowell, Cook, Lyons. BJ's a guy that was doing something in the 80s, kind of a rare thing, but even that stuff. Gemsa, they have a lot of examples.
Those
of
tools,
there.
is this a photo of all the vintage tools?
Oh, yeah, look at those tools.
It's almost like a blacksmith shop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's another shot I have of kind of like a garage display they had, too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
No, it's going to be great. So Speedway Motors in Lincoln, Nebraska. You can go online and check them out. You may find some parts you need. And I remember when Speedy Bill was still with us, and he was always collecting the memorabilia and the parts. And he's got the biggest collection of vintage engines.
Right, the Rajo Ts
Yeah.
and the Rileys and it's just, this is really something for a true hot rodder.
Yeah.
Like those four-banger guys are the original hot rodders.
They are.
And it's just so, it's great education, great history, and I just encourage everybody to go. Thank you for sharing your photos with us, Clark. Clark rescued my 66 Mustang from a bad alley.
Really?
Yes, I'm forever indebted to him.
So he roped it in and put it in the herd.
He saved it, put it on a trailer, and whisked it away to a safe hiding place.
Ah, good.
Yes.
Good.
Clark is a good guy.
a couple of days ago too.
Pardon?
Oh, did you?
I remember doing that with a Studebaker a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah, he whisked away my Studebaker, too.
Oh, man, he's a regular rescue ranger.
Yeah,
All right.
he's good.
I see some interesting cars so far that we've shown. We just showed
The Smaldino Yates car was there.
Look at the dragster.
Now, who's this, Clark?
That was a Tony Nancy car.
Yeah.
The Smaldino Yates car is real important. It came from Southern California.
From Vic Smaldino.
Yeah, and his record still stands. He ran 100% nitro on that run in Bakersfield that he got the record on. I think,
We did a feature on him for Old School Rods magazine, and nobody had heard of him. And we
Really?
busted him out again, and he was just a wonderful guy. And maybe we should show that on a future episode. The story we did.
We can do that, and then we want to talk to you again and get Art as well. Right before the Antique Nationals this coming year.
Now,
Hey,
this
there's
is
the
a
red
clone
band.
of the Outlaw, right? Because the original is at the Peterson.
Yeah, that's Mark Moraity's clone.
Okay.
That Spritz built.
And then you've got the Red Baron. Keith Dean just built a clone of that for the Volo Museum.
Oh, okay.
So that's a cool car, too. Isn't that neat?
Yeah, for a while they were selling repop bodies of that, so you could build your own Outlaw.
Is that right? I built a model of the
Jimmy
Red
C.
Baron
made
when I was
those
a
off
kid.
the original mold that was in Robert Williams' attic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He saved
look
the
at
mold
this.
from Ed Ross' shop, and they made another casting out of it and started repopping them.
That's great. That's great.
man.
All right, a lot of history and a lot more we can talk about. Clark, I do appreciate you calling in.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And we're going to do a little history ourselves right now with some history of Moon Eyes and their Moon dragster with the pot fin blower up front. We're going to show that now, an old news story, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
about Moon.
It's constructed.
Clark, thank you very
Clark,
much.
love you.
Call
All right,
back,
thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Call back in.
Bye.
Watch the commercial.
Yeah.
Go Moon, right?
Yes. Not if you're sitting there like that.
This is great footage.
In the world of speed, the dragster ranks as the #1 choice of youngsters with a touch of daring and adventure in their blood. For a few fleeting seconds on a quarter-mile strip, the driver enters another world, crosses over into a new frontier. But a record-shattering adventure on the hot quarter-mile is more than a simple endeavor of one man. It takes a mechanic, a driver, a designer, and the assembled knowledge of the many manufacturing concerns who cater exclusively to speed requirements. Thousands of parts come together in one master plan to create a dragster built to perform according to the ideas of the designer, tuned by the mechanic, and guided by the firm hand of the driver. And so, the personality of a dragster emerges, a personality known as Moon Eye. said that drag racing is 95% work and 5% driving. The driver pays for his brief moment of speed with a tedious list of things to be done before the car can make another run. Safety chute repacking usually takes the longest and requires the help of a number of people. Here at Pomona, California, driver Gary Cagle and owner Dean Moon prepare Moon Eyes for a very special trip down the quarter-mile strip, the final run. For Moon Eyes is retiring. Built by Dean Moon as a quarter-mile test bench for the many speed products he manufactures or distributes, Moon Eyes has hung up an impressive record in speed. Winner in class at the NHRA Nationals in Indianapolis and again at the Winter Nationals in Pomona, Moon Eyes has scored with top speed records of 163.09 miles per hour and an elapsed time of 8 and 98/100 seconds. Last-minute plug inspection and Moon Eyes is ready to pull up on the line, ready to unleash the power in the 300 cubic inch blown engine in one last burst of speed. Is over and Moon Eyes has retired. At the drag strip, the car is loaded on the trailer for the beginning of a long journey with many stops. Moon Eyes will never run again, but it'll still live in polished beauty as a traveling showpiece, an example of the high craftsmanship of modern speed merchants. Purchased from Dean Moon by the Revell Model Manufacturing Company, Moon Eyes will live for many years to come, not only as a traveling exhibit, but as a 1/25th scale model available in hobby and toy shops throughout the nation. When you see Moon Eyes today, listen carefully. You may still hear the cheering crowd and the thunder of that last final run.
I love that.
All right, welcome back. That's such a great video. I want to thank Shige at Moon Eyes in Japan for sending that to us. And one of the things we could talk about every week is we talk about new impending laws that affect the hobby and what's going on. And one of the things that's coming up that they're trying to put into effect, for those of you that are my age and younger or older, what have you, you do remember the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit we had for some time when I think Carter instituted that to try and save fuel and ended up not really doing much of that, but we did it. And now they're trying to do it again.
What? Wait,
Yes.
wait. What?
The National Traffic... Let's see, NTSB,
NTSB.
National Traffic Safety Bureau,
Highway Safety Bureau,
Bureau, whatever they are, Transportation Safety Board, is trying to institute a reduced speed limit again. Now, what they're going to do is, for some people it'll save gas, but the problem we found the last time they did this is cars were not made to drive at 55 miles an hour. And I had an example. At the time, I had a little MGB. It was not geared to drive at 55 miles an hour. When I did it 55, I got 24, 25 miles per gallon. When I took it up to 65, which was the speed limit at the time, and I had an overdrive system in the car, I got over 30 miles per gallon. And that's some of the things we saw happening back when the 55-mile-an-hour law was instituted originally. Now, the other thing we saw when that 55-mile-an-hour law came into effect was an increase in speeding tickets. Increased revenue for the government. Now, any ticket that's written by either the CHP in California or a regular local police station, that money primarily goes to the state of California. Some of it goes back to the city or the jurisdiction that wrote the ticket, but the majority of the money goes in. Now, if we think about it here in California, and unfortunately, a lot of you, or fortunately, a lot of you that are watching don't live in California, but for those of us in California, we've just had a gas tax increase that's going into effect shortly of 12 cents per gallon. They've raised our vehicle registration fees to the point that in some cases it's going to be double to triple what you're currently paying. And this is all to pay for road repairs, they say. Although they have 35 cents of tax on the gallon of gas now that they're pirating for other things. Our Governor Jerky Brown has made sure that it got used for other things. But instead of taking the money that they already have earmarked, they're going to put it into other funds or other pockets to pay for other things. Now, this will probably do the same thing, but NTSB is trying to do this on a national scope. So it's going to affect everyone in the country if they get this through. You've really got to write your congressperson and complain about this. Now, it started out in they're saying it's for safety. Fatality Analysis Reporting System, or FARS database. No, there's no T in that.
I was waiting for that. Though.
Yes, you were. And what they're saying is that lowering the speed limit. Now, the national speed limit right now in most places is 65 to 70 miles an hour.
Sure.
They're saying by dropping the speed limit, we will decrease fatalities. We'll actually probably increase fatalities because you're not going to have people driving at 55 miles an hour.
Right.
You're going to have people that are exceeding that. And then all of a sudden you come across somebody who's driving 55.
Yep.
And what do? Well, you hit them from behind. You get cut off. You either get out of shape trying to get around them. But this is what's going to be happening. It is going to slow down interstate commerce. Because other than in California, trucks drive at the posted speed limit. California is the only place that I know of that truck and trailers, the semi-rigs, the big rigs, have to drive at 55 miles an hour. Anyone towing a trailer. Yeah. Now, I understand that to an extent, towing a trailer on a passenger car or a pickup truck, but over-the-road drivers, they're well experienced at this, and this is the only state that they have to drive 55. So you run into a situation where you've got the majority of traffic is not going to be doing 55, although they haven't exactly spelled out that they're going to go to 55 miles an hour, but they want to reduce the speeds, and in their mind, it will reduce fatalities. We know that didn't happen the first time.
So is that the way the law is presented? It's a safety issue they're claiming?
That's what they're saying. They're saying that FAR's report indicates that reducing the speed limit will, in some way, decrease fatalities. If you look at the statistics, though, the majority of the fatalities are on surface streets, not highways. So reducing the speed on highways does not affect surface streets.
True. In fact, there's that old saw that I think is true where the vast majority of accidents in your lifetime, if you get into a car accident, is going to be within 5 miles of your house.
Right, yeah. And they say that. The other situation, too, is the accidents that are happening at 65 miles an hour, the speed limit in most places, they're not doing 65 miles an hour. They're doing faster than 65. So lowering the speed limit below the 65 mile an hour number we've got now is not going to be effective.
Yeah, because they're already going faster than that anyway. Right. Oh, boy. Wow, what a...
Can I say something?
No. All right, go ahead, Anna.
Here's the trick with the verbiage. They say speeding-related accidents. Now, that doesn't mean accidents caused by speeding, because out of 100% of speeding-related accidents, only 2% are related to speeding. So if you have 2% that are actually speed-related accidents, then this is a total farce. Now, the other thing is the National Transportation Safety Board is trying to take over the Federal Highway Engineering Manual that's been in place for years that says what really happens on a federal level. Okay. They want to completely abolish that. And they say that 65 miles an hour is actually safe. So this is really a revenue-generating scam on a federal level. That's what's really scary about this. And of course, it doesn't go on the news, and nobody finds out about it.
No.
And then all of a sudden, you start getting tickets, and you're wondering what's going on, speed traps and all of that stuff. So, California is kind of notorious about that. Santa Barbara is the world's worst speed trap. But it's revenue.
The worst speed trap I've been to, and unfortunately, I've gotten caught there twice. If you're driving on Highway 10 across country.
Okay, the Christopher Columbus Transcontinental Highway.
Yeah, that one.
That one.
As you're going between Tucson, Arizona, and Phoenix is a place called Casa Grande. They park on the center divider and wait for you to go by. They have a plane in the sky, and they pick the cars out. And it is a speed trap. At the time that I got these tickets, it was 55 mile an hour speed limit. And I was the only one who really wasn't doing 55 other than the other 10 cars they had pulled over alongside me at the same time. But that was also the proving grounds for General Motors and Nissan and a few other companies. They have their test tracks in Casa Grande. And this was a revenue-generating situation because Casa Grande at the time really, the population was maybe 15 jackrabbits, but it's another revenue thing. Now, they've said on the news today here in California, we were talking about some tickets they were giving out for jaywalking, and they're saying, it's not a revenue generator. Well, you got $200 for someone jaywalking. If that's not a revenue generator, I'm sorry, I don't know what is. They wrote 17,000 tickets in the last couple of years on just jaywalking. Well, Casa Grande was using as a revenue generator because they really had no city to patrol, so they were patrolling that section of the highway. And they used an airplane to clock you, and then they would peel out as you went by underneath this overpass where they park in the shade because it was too damn hot in Arizona, and they chase you down. But this is this NTSB proposal is going to be a national speed trap, making the whole country into a national speed trap.
Wow, I gotta admit, until just now on this show, and I'm gonna guess that this is the response of 95% of the viewers and listeners. People are they're saying what I am. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And this is why this is why we are doing the laws here, telling you a little bit about pending laws so that you'll find out about them and you can react instead of waiting afterwards and trying to catch up.
Right. Now, writing in has a lot of power. There's a website called the National Motorist Association. They'll tell you how to get out of a speed trap ticket. They tell you about speed traps. Go on there, look up the letter to the Secretary of Transportation, and support it. I have a story about a speed trap. Would you like to hear it?
I would love it.
Okay, so I'm going up to Los Olivos to do a photo shoot for Old School Rods, and I'm cutting through Santa Barbara, and I get dinged by a radar police officer. Cop on a motorcycle, and as I was passing him, this car went speeding by me at about 90 miles an hour. It was a silver car, and I'm in my white 66 Mustang, and he pulls me over, and I was doing the speed limit. I was actually 8 miles over the speed limit because I pay attention. So he pulls me over, and I said, "What are you pulling me over for?" Played the dumb blonde, and he said, "Speeding," and I said, "I wasn't speeding." He said, "I clocked you twice." I said, "I want to see the slips." And I was 8 miles over, and there's a 10-mile grace period. So he tickets me anyway.
Yeah.
What? What'd you say?
Unofficial, but okay.
Okay. 10. Well, okay. Yeah, still.
Yeah.
So you can still argue that.
You can. Okay.
All right. So I said, "But I'm in Los Angeles." He goes, "Too bad. You have to come to Santa Barbara." So I lost 2 days of work. I go up to Santa Barbara, and in the meantime, I called the National Motorist Association. I went on the website, and I found out how to challenge a radar gun. Now, radar guns have to be calibrated every 2 years, and I requested the engineering study from the manual that the NTSB is trying to eliminate, the engineering study.
Okay.
They didn't send me that, and they didn't send me the calibration for the radar gun, so technically you would throw my case out. So
Did they?
No. So the cop tries to serve me the papers right before court, and I refused them. I said, "You can't serve me right before we go in." So he had a fit. And I go in front of the judge. The judge finds out I'm right. He makes me wait till the very last minute because he has to go check his books. And he comes out and he says, Miss Marco, you're very clever. You've done great work. However, this is my courthouse, and my rules go, and you're paying the ticket. Oh, boy. So that was a $300 ticket, and I opted to go to traffic school.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was furious because I was right, and they wouldn't. It was a speed trap because if there's a police officer at one place and another one 25 miles down the road, and you're in between, that's a speed trap, and that's illegal. So I knew I was in a speed trap. Anyways, the motorcycle cop the former motorcycle cop, this is another one who was the bailiff, came up to me and he said, "Girl, I have never seen that. You are the bomb. How did you figure that out?" And I said, "The National Motorist Association." So informed drivers are informed. And that's how you protect yourself from speed traps and financial gain, which is basically, a ruse to raise money for the state.
Yeah,
and so that's my story.
Good
I'm
for
sticking
you.
to it.
All right, we're going to take a small break right now. We'll be back to close out the show as we come up on top of the hour. I'm Hot Rod Bob Beck, along with Anna Marco, Anna Octane, and Bruce Barker. We'll be right back.
It's the big news in the low-price field. The big new Studebaker. Look at it. Imagine yourself at the wheel of a big, handsome, new Studebaker. Just imagine. Luxury you can afford. Come see the standout car in the low-price field. It's the most exciting new concept in automobiles. Craftsmanship with a flair to bring you this new big Studebaker President V8. Here indeed is a car to dream about, truly distinctive with its look of sculptured steel. Inside luxury unequaled, matching two-tone colors in washable vinyl fabrics, exclusive flight-style instrument panel, and roominess that means true comfort. From any view, you see the smart sweep of its lines. Bigger, longer, wider. A bold, important look, so perfectly suited to modern tastes. Dream once again of craftsmanship with a flair and see the Golden Hawk, star of Studebaker's fabulous new sports car series, pace setters for style and performance. Go ahead, get in. See how Studebaker's Golden Hawk sets the pace for interiors, too, with smartly functional soundproof sealing, decorator-keyed colors and fabrics, specially designed flight view instrument panel. It's the only 5-passenger sports car in volume production. And now let's talk performance. Put her in gear, let her roll, and open her up. Now that's what we mean by Sky Power Performance. And with all 5 big new Studebaker series to choose from. 3 magnificent new presidents. 3 big new commanders. 3 handsome new champions. 3 big roomy station wagons, and 4 sensational new Studebaker Hawks, and all bearing the stamp of craftsmanship with a flair to make Studebaker the standout car in the low-price field. Be a standout yourself at the wheel of a big new Studebaker at your Studebaker dealers now.
One of the things we all noticed at the same time was Tom Bosley,
yes,
Mr. C from Happy Days, doing a car commercial. His early days of his acting career.
Yeah, well, and a lot of big actors got started doing TV commercials. Hey, there was some of these engines. I know we got lots more show. I wanted to blast through some more of the Speedway Motors museum motors. And Bob, you had asked about the Front E Ford.
Yes.
I know at least one of the cars that we saw. I think you were dealing with some tech stuff at the time. Was painted with a Front E Ford, a Frontenac emblem, and as well somewhere in here there's 1 or 2 motors, 1 or 2 engines with that conversion as well.
Yeah.
What exactly was the Front E Ford conversion?
Chevrolet Brothers were making an overhead valve conversion, and building race engines out of Model Ts and Model As. You could buy a race-ready engine for your Model A or Model T from the Chevrolet brothers. And that's how you got to afford to go fast with a Chevrolet. Now, we talked about it earlier about a show that Bruce and I had gone to. And, Bruce, you have the interview we did with Bob Barabbas, a.k.a. Floyd Lippincott Jr., the famous driver of the freight train and Hall of Fame member. And he was honored by the city of Burbank with a Lifetime Achievement Award.
He is a national record holder. He has won championships, and he is in the top 50 in most recognized names in drag racing today. How you doing, Bob? I remembered some of that stuff.
I did it behind a mask.
Yes, he did. Now, his alter ego was Floyd Lippincott Jr., and you'll see some people walking around with those hats, Lippincott for governor. It's still an active campaign.
We need a better governor now.
We do. Well, Bob, you've done some things. You drove. How did you get started driving drag racers?
How did it get started? Well, I quickly learned my first car for a date kept breaking in the drag racing, so I finally teamed up with a guy named Don Gady, and we put a motor in his car and we went drag racing with the Road Kings of Burbank back in '57.
Okay, the Road Kings started in 1952, but you were one of the early members, and at that point in time, the club was not a hot rodding club, it was a drag race club.
Absolutely. In fact, at one time we had over 26 drag race cars. In fact, the club had its own dragster. If your car broke and you wanted to go to the drag races, you team up with some other members and you take them to the drag races.
Now, talking about other members, some of the members we have are well-known. TV Tommy Idol, longtime Burbank resident. TV Tommy is a TV and movie star and a well-known drag racer. We have 5 members in the Hall of Fame. We have 7 in the Hall of Fame. All right, they keep getting in the Hall of Fame. We've got 19-plus world record holders.
I think that's pretty close to it, maybe 20.
And most of the guys are recognized throughout the world. You were over in Great Britain just a year or so ago, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been in Great Britain twice for the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame over there, and we're going again this year. We're taking a lot of our stars there too, like Joe Schubeck and Tom Hoover. Have all been honored at the gala there. And plus, the man who puts that on next week will be with him in Bonneville, trying to set some 200-mile-an-hour records.
All right, now one of the claims of fame that you had was a very well-known car that many people in drag racing knew by sight, but didn't know you as the driver. And that was a 2-engined car called the Freight Train.
Yeah, the name of the car got named that by a lady named Judy Thompson years ago at Fontana Drag Strip. And every kid loves a train, and so we did the bib overalls, put the cow catcher in the front, and it still to this day is the world's fastest gas-powered drag strip.
You were the one that set that record?
Yes, it was. 1971, when they closed the class out, we went over 215 miles an hour in the 6-second bracket.
All right, so put that in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. That's not today's ETs. The class doesn't exist any longer. But in those days, your average street car went 0 to 60 in 15 to 16 seconds. Bob was doing 6 seconds at over 200 miles an hour in a quarter mile, about the length of an on-ramp of the freeway.
Yeah, so, a very long on-ramp.
Very long on-ramp.
But you'll find pictures of the car, this beautiful poster that the Road Kings put up with the cars I used to drive in the Start in San Fernando, and that's the top fuel dragsters I used to drive, etc.
Yeah, and Bob drove up until just a short time ago, driving the Western Hoist top fuel car.
Yeah, that picture of that's on there too. That's a 3,000 horsepower car that goes 250 miles an hour in about just under 6 seconds, 590.
And you were one of the top drivers of the Good Guys VRE for a short time when they ran the class out here.
Yeah, it was basically I got back into drag racing after 30 years in 2001, and I put a team together, and we had a really good car, good team, and went 7 races and won 5 of them.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Barabbas, a.k.a. Floyd Lippincott Jr., and we've got some awards to give him. And we're looking for Jimmy Miles still, but no, we're not. Okay. Jimmy was not feeling good, feeling a little under the weather. So we got the Lifetime Achievement Award for Bob Barabbas. Why don't you come on up here, too? Oh, yes. Marissa helped put this show together, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got a certificate as well. Mayor, why don't you come on up as well, please? Give him the certificate if you don't mind. Mayor Burbank, Will Rogers, ladies and gentlemen.
From the entire City Council, just a certificate of recognition for Bob Barabbas, and you quit tearing up our streets. We're glad of that, and you went to the tracks. We appreciate that. So if we could just get a picture of you with that, and you can read that at your leisure later. Thank you.
All right, that was past weekend in beautiful downtown Burbank. Bob Barabbas getting a Lifetime Achievement Award from the city of Burbank. Now, Bob's a lifetime member of the Road Kings. He's been with the club since 1957. He and Don Perdome were inducted the same day.
Okay.
They've both been members since 1957. And
Tommy Ivo.
And Tommy was their sponsor. You had to be sponsored. You still have to be sponsored to get into the Road Kings Car Club. And Tommy sponsored both Don and Bob Barabbas. Now, Bob was known more so for his driving of the freight train. But this is the cars. These are the cars that Bruce and I saw this weekend at this show. Like I said, there were over 250 cars there. They blocked off beautiful downtown Burbank, which actually was the advertising slogan the city of Burbank did, when they blocked off the street and made it into an open-air mall area with just sidewalks and paths. Now, they had to change that because no one was going there. So they opened it back up as a street. But every year they block it off as a car show. We saw some amazing cars. This Mach 1 was beautiful. One of the many super stock Dodges. Now, this car is a 53 Corvette. That's one of the Road King members. Look at that Lincoln. I love those Lincoln Continentals. That was the first Continental of the modern era, I guess you could say, from the 50s.
Yeah, one of the new Corvettes.
And you know, all these cars are in hiding.
Yeah.
And then you bring out a great show, and 250 of the coolest cars show up.
They do. And we had everything
beautiful?
From imports to domestics, hot rods to here's a beautifully restored Thunderbird. He was one of the award winners. This is one of the Trans Am. This Trans Am was another award winner. It had the Screaming Chicken on the hood. It's a Burt Reynolds copy type car.
Oh, Smokey and the Bandit?
Smokey and the Bandit, yeah.
Yeah, and of course you were mentioning the a couple of those big Mopars. They weren't Polaris. They were early '60s. There was two different ones, I think.
Belvedere and the Satellite. Well, Belvedere and the Savoy.
Yeah, and I think two of those won.
Yes.
I think trophies because they're just gorgeous cars.
Yeah, two super stock 426 Max Wedge dual quad cars.
Yeah, you look at those things pulling up and you just go, oh yeah, that's
they were beautiful. And here you see,
and your beautiful convertible was there, wasn't it, Bruce?
You know, it was looking good. I can't be too bummed about not being a regular winner, trophy-wise, because that thing is a crowd pleaser. People love it, and that's the important
That's the thing. Yeah, for those of you that go to shows and a lot, if all you're doing is going to a show for a trophy, you're going for the wrong reason.
Oh, we've got two hip-hop dancers here with the little girl.
That's right.
Go.
Yeah, they were doing everything. We had 4 bands playing, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And there was some just amazing cars. There was entertainment. Randy Cardoon, who's been on the show with us here from Talking About Cars, was there. He was doing his interviews and broadcast. That Corvair you just showed, a Buick 215 V8 in the back.
Wow.
Adapted. It bolted right up to the Corvair transaxle.
Holy
And it fit beautiful like it was supposed to be there.
See, I didn't pick that up. I saw the plate and I just said, well, I'm not familiar with that engine size, but what do I know about the flat 4, whatever the Corvair engine?
The Corvair originally was a 6-cylinder. This one had a Buick aluminum 215 V8, which was the engine from the Buick Special in the early 60s.
What do you know?
And became the Rover V8 and the MG V8 in later years.
That's right. They bought the rights to that motor, didn't they?
And they've made it work.
Yeah. Yeah, how about
Do you know what I like about the old cars? They named them after cool animals like the Cougar, the Bronco, the Mustang,
the Impala.
And then kids of today change those meanings, and Cougar has nothing to do with cars anymore.
Well, it should, and it always will.
Ray's Merc
Wow, look at those cars.
Oh,
it's like
beautiful.
it's like candy, a confetti all over.
It was. If you looked overhead, it looked like an Easter egg hunt. And there's Randy Cardoon's board for talking about cars, and that was his Polara, 1964 Polara for Randy Cardoon from our local news station, KNX News. He's the sports anchor.
I didn't
now, what
realize
is that?
was his
Is that
car.
a Dodge Coronet?
That is a Dodge Coronet police car. And
Fast.
the regional representative for LoJack owns that car. And he was a police. Now, that car looks familiar.
That does.
Yes.
That's Mrs. Hot Rod's car.
No. That one's mine.
Oh, that's Mr. Hot Rod Bob's car?
Yeah. She's got a 46 Ford. I've got the 48 Plymouth that I've had for 35 years.
God, that is amazing. Good for you.
Yeah. I can't afford
And
to get rid
it's
of it.
flamed because it's a hot
flamed.
rod.
That's right. We did the flames in the garage. Mike Bishop from
There's an
American
Avante.
Rodder magazine helped paint it. Yeah, Avante.
Mike
Boss
Bishop
421.
helped you paint that? He needs to
did.
come to my house and paint my cars.
And the guy the Boss 429 Cougar you just showed,
Right.
That's my insurance agent from Grundy.
Oh, look at the taillight on that car. Did that
The
look like
Merc.
a machine gun or what?
I'll tell you what. Yeah.
the 58, 59 Mercs were ridiculous. That wasn't a turnpike cruiser. It was just
No,
a
that was just a
Monterey or
regular
something.
Merc, yeah. But some of the great cars, Corvair ramp side pickup truck.
Wow, never saw one of those.
Troy's
their
car
Speed
from
Racer?
Hollywood Hot Rod, the Speed Racer. Now, this car was built for John Wayne.
Yes, do you know who built that? George Barris.
Barris.
That was a birthday present from Bob Hope to John Wayne.
Right.
It's a manure spreader called the Texas Bullshit
Right.
Scraper.
And it's got fiberglass bullshit in the trunk.
And it's a real
back.
1900 Overland wagon.
Yep.
What? Now, I didn't know that it was a genuine wagon.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Barris was noted for cutting up things.
Oh, that is kind of a shame, isn't it?
I wish I had gone to this show.
Oh, you should
I
have.
missed it.
You should have.
I should have.
All right. Well,
Thanks for sharing.
yeah. Been another great night here at Gas. We're just about full. And
yeah.
we're going to release you and out to the public. And we'll get things going. Bruce, it's been great. Anna,
Nice to see
I'll let you sign us
Yeah, I'll
off.
come back now, you hear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little. I was trying to connect that with the Overland wagon. I couldn't quite do it. Some sort of Beverly Hillbillies thing.
There we go.
Yeah. Now, what was their truck? I used to know this. The truck, the car, whatever, in the Beverly Hillbillies. It
That was
some
another
sort of-
George Barris car. but
And
Yeah,
Dick Dean. And Dick Dean worked on that, too.
Yeah.
It was a jalopy, some crazy jalopy.
It was a bunch of parts.
Yeah, a bunch of parts. Hey, look, we got a bunch of parts coming up. We'll see what I did there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of parts coming up.
I have parts with
60
appeal.
minutes worth of parts.
I have parts with appeal.
Holy
Parts
cow.
with appeal.
Oh, she's right after the show ends, she's going to peel it all off.
Oh, and then outtakes will be available later. No.
That's right. Yeah. No such luck, I'm afraid. The encore presentation of this very show comes up next. Thanks so much for joining us again for the great American auto scene right here. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Good night, everybody.